Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever this video catches you. Today's story is about having faith. As a child growing up in North Carolina, I had to go to church all the time because there was no other activities really for kids to do back in the day. So my grandparents made us go to church Monday through Sunday, pretty much. And although it wasn't a great experience as a child, it became a great experience as I grew up and looked back on those times. So spending that much in time in church, we saw a lot of things. But one thing I noticed is that we had an usher named Sister Brula. And Sister Brula was a sister of, I think, five sisters. And she was not the baby, but she was next to the baby. I think they call that the knee baby in country people's forums. Needless to say, as the knee baby, she wasn't considered as attractive as the rest of her sisters. And they made this quite obvious when the way they treated her. So she found herself attending church and becoming an usher and making herself useful in those ways. She didn't have a boyfriend, she didn't have a husband, she didn't have any suitors. Clean, very upscaling, down, dark-skinned, beautiful black woman. But I don't think she could see her beauty in herself, and neither did the other people around her. Um, she was a sweet girl. Needless to say, going to church with my grandparents, they used to pick her up and take her to church and take her home. So if we had any other extracurriculum after church, like, we have to go to dinner or something, Sister Brula would always go with us. And nobody had a problem with this. This was an invited thing. Um, she was a pleasure to be around. But like I said, I don't think she ever made, anybody uncomfortable. Well, one day I remember my grandmother talking to her, and I, as a child, overheard the conversation. And she was discussing to my grandmother how her sisters treated her so badly. And they told her, she was ugly, she's never going to get married, she would never, find a man. And my grandmother assured her that God could do anything. She continued to go to church, and even though I would leave during the winter time to go back north, when I come back this summer, there would be Sister Brula. And then one day, I saw Sister Brula stand up in church. And, back in that day, they used to say she caught the Holy Spirit. The Spirit hit her, baby. I mean, it hit her hard from the back of the church. And she stood up. And I don't think I ever seen her shout until that moment. And she was wildly flinging back and forth. And my siblings, and of course, other kids in church, thought it was funny. But all I kept thinking was, what is that she is going through? What is making her do that? What's making her wail back and forth out of control, could care less what anybody says right now? And I wanted to catch the Holy Spirit after watching her. I was like, well, I want to see what this Holy Spirit is about. Where is it at? How do you get it? I mean, do you sign up at the door? But it never happened that way. But like I told you, she shouted that day, and I'd never seen her shout before. And after that, I saw her shout many times. But it was something about that particular day when I saw her shout for the first time and let go. Needless to say, I believe within my heart now that I'm older and I can look back on it, that was when she had her revelation. Sister Brule had been sitting at church for many years and many days, and I think at that moment she found a revelation. She saw within herself that she wasn't going to be alone, that she wasn't going to be unmarried, and she wasn't going to be unhappy. She ended up marrying a man in the church by Mr. Tommy Lee, and he did. He married her and treated her like a queen until the day she died. And I thought to myself, man, I wonder if that was that day that she realized, I don't know what you bring, God, but whatever it is, I'm ready for it. I'm so ready for it. So I want to tell you that having faith can help you get ready for a lot of things. Just trust in God and He'll get you there.